Hello, my friends, and welcome back to Italy, a place to love YouTube channel. Okay, so today I'm going to talk about a town in Abruzzo region that became part of an amazing project. And to be honest, I wanted to discuss with you, to talk to my subscribers about this such amazing project. And so the town that I'm going to talk about today is this town called Santo Stefano di Sessanio. Now, this is the town here, Santo Stefano di Sessanio. So, and we are talking about a town that is we can find in Abruzzo region. Abruzzo region, I think, is in l'Aquila province because, anyway, as far as I can see, it's quite close to l'Aquila. Anyway, here is the area. And so we are in a national park. Okay. We are in the area of the national park of Gran Sasso. That is one of the most important national park in Italy, all over Italy. So as we can see, it's not that much far. Maybe it's 20 kilometers from L'Aquila. It's also not that far from the sea. But we are talking about a town that is located in the mountains. Okay. Now, I want to show you, for example, few things that are important to say about this town before I'm going to read the article. So it's a very small town. So in all the town, there are only 114 inhabitants. So it's a very small town. Then we are talking about a town that is in the mountains. So the altitude of the town itself is quite high. So we are talking 1,250 meters above the sea level. So consider, for example, that L'Aquila is around 700 meters above the sea level. Now, let me go on Google and let me see meters, feet, because not everyone is very familiar, for example, with the meters. I know a lot of my subscribers so are not Italian. So in Italy, we um, calculate the height by meters, 1,250 meters. Now, as far as I can see, in feet, because piede in Italian is foot, so I know the calculation is in feet, meters to feet converter. So we are talking about a town that is at 4,101 feet above the sea level. So it's a quite high town in altitude. Now, what's very particular of this town? This town is so particular. So let me say one more thing. Today is anyway. It's 9:50 in the morning at the moment that I'm recording here. Anyway, Rome time. I guess now it's still night in New York time. For example, I think we are around 3 or 4 a.m. In New York. And there are only 2 degrees. So as you can see, it's quite cold. For example, here where where I'm located here in Montemilone, the temperature at the moment is between 13 and 14 degrees. So you can see the difference because we are talking about a mountain town. Okay, now let me say what makes this town so particular. And then I'm gonna read the article. This town, 20, 25 years ago, it was totally abandoned. Was an abandoned town. So it seems like nobody was living there. Maybe there were two, three inhabitants. I don't know, 10 inhabitants. Very small, in the meaning that most of the people who were originally from this town, so they left and they moved somewhere else. They could have moved to L'Aquila, or they could have moved to towns, for example, like Pescara on the sea. Maybe they just relocated in bigger towns around Santo Stefano di Sessanio, or they simply relocated abroad or in the north of Italy, just to give you an idea why the town was abandoned. It's a town full of history because we can go back in time when had the peak, let me say, when the town itself was very, very popular back in the 14th century. So it was a very, because has the structure, for example, of a medieval town and so on. Now, I'm still giving you the description of this town. Basically, I'd say 25, 30 years ago, nobody was uh, left living in this town. And so then what happened? And now we go into this article that I found here on this website called myluxury.it. It's a very interesting website. It's like italia.it. You can find a lot of information if you're interested, for example, in traveling to Italy. So there are very, very interesting articles. And I found this article about Santo Stefano di Sessanio. Now, before I read everything, a bit of history, I just want to start from the very beginning. So, what happened here now? Okay, let me read this paragraph here because it's very important. An abandoned village, then? Absolutely not. Because here in Santo Stefano di Sessanio, an Italian Swedish entrepreneur called Daniel Kilgren arrived, who decided to buy a part of the abandoned houses of the village and to renovate them, giving new life to this place and creating a unique project. Now, this project is called the Albergo Diffuso Sextantio. Sorry, it's called the Albergo Diffuso Sextantio. So, what did he do? Practically, it seems like he bought most of the houses of this abandoned village, but simply because it was so abandoned, probably the houses he bought for nothing. Okay. And then he restructured totally, he renovate most of these properties. And then he created a town that is a hotel itself. Wow. Now, let me spend a few words about. I think this is an amazing project. Only from a very bright mind. I think this person has to be not a genius because this is an idea that many of us could have had. For example, I personally had this type of experience. Unfortunately, failed, didn't go well. I can tell you more maybe if you want to know about my experience. And I can tell you a project that I started more than 20 years ago, but didn't end up well. But so this man here, Daniel Kilgren, he bought all these abandoned houses in the village. And now is an extremely touristic place. It's a place so where now you can go enjoy and relax in this beautiful environment. And we are talking about il Parco Nazionale del Gran Sasso. That is one of the most important attractions in Abruzzo region. But so let's read a bit this article. So this Abruzzo village is a fortified beauty to discover this autumn. Okay, here for example we can see a picture of the village. I'd say anyway at the moment it counts 114 inhabitants, so it's a very small town. But again, I think it's simply an amazing project. I think it's simply, you see, this man made a dream come true. In this Abruzzo village, time has had a particular course, but that has made it what it is today, and that will make you fall in love at first sight. Now, traveling far and wide among the beauties of Abruzzo, it is difficult not to be enraptured by the sights of its villages. immersed in unique landscapes and guardians of treasures that deserve to be discovered as soon as possible. Places like a beautiful Abruzzo village located within the Gran Sasso and Monti della Laga National Park and included among the most beautiful villages in Italy. So now this town here, Santo Stefano di Sessanio, is considered one of the most beautiful villages of Italy, in Italy. Now, a place that is located at 1,250 meters above the sea level and that is immersed in a truly exceptional landscape, a destination that deserves your attention and a journey dedicated to the discovery of its history and its beauties. Ideal for those who want to take some time to live a unique and original experience, full of charm, magical atmospheres, and relaxation, and to enjoy the authentic beauty of this fortified Abruzzo village frozen in time. Now, I think this man, he looked very, very forward. So basically, um, he gave the chance now, after renovating all these houses and making cozy and making, uh, anyway, making kind of hotel. Now all the town itself, it became a hotel, let me say. And so what's the experience you're gonna live there? It's simply a unique and original experience because you don't have this opportunity anywhere else in Italy. So it's kind of a unique project. Now, it will be also interesting to know how much he invested, for example, to make this dream come true. I believe that he invested a big amount of money. Maybe not only few people can afford to do this, but so in this case, it seems like he did it all alone. But for example, I always thought that it would be nice, for example, to put some people together and to work together on a project like this. This, you see, it looked very, very forward. 25 years ago, anyone who would have done anything like this would have been called like mad, simply mad. Oh, you are crazy. Each time here in the south of Italy, for example, you are trying to promote and you are trying to give an idea, they simply tell you, they point you like, oh, but you are crazy. And so this man probably took this nickname. Anyway, let me say just nickname, and but he went on his own path and he said, no, I will make it. So what I like, this is what I like, the determination of this person that I don't know personally, but I can guess by the story. Anyway, let's keep reading. An Abruzzo village that is a real pearl to discover, a village that boasts ancient origins dating back to the 14th century when it was a flourishing town dedicated to agriculture and sheep farming. It is a place that over time passed under the lordship of Florence, engaging in trade in Carfagna wool that was produced here and then brought to Tuscany for processing before being sold in Europe. So anyway, they were processing this wool in Tuscany and then they were selling all over Europe because the quality was very good. A commercial success that had a strong setback with the unification of Italy, an important event for our country, but which marked the decline of this Abruzzo village, so much so that it was gradually abandoned by its inhabitants. Now, this it's not only an issue that this village had come true, okay? So, as they say, the unification of Italy marked the decline of this Abruzzo village. No, I disagree. I disagree in the way that the unification of Italy marked the decline of all the south of Italy. So I will make a video where I will try to explain. Uh, anyway, it's clear, for example, nowadays that the south of Italy is not fully developed economically, and so there is a reason why. And anyway, this town, since the unification of Italy, had to go through practically the fact that people had abandoned this town simply because there were no job opportunities. I mean, if the unification of Italy made the fact that there was only poverty and no chance to feed your family, obviously, when it's very hard to feed your family, you take luggages, uh, paper, cardboard boxes. That's what we call it when people were living with cardboard boxes. And anyway, they abandoned this beautiful town. Can we imagine? Nowadays, it would sound crazy that someone is living such a beautiful beauty, such a beautiful place, but unfortunately, it happened. Now, let me see. Now, an abandoned village, then? Okay, absolutely no, because here in Santo Stefano di Sessanio, this Italian-Swedish entrepreneur, Daniel Kilgren, so he made of this abandoned town a gem, a beauty. I mean, I'm simply amazed by what this man did. Now, what to see in Santo Stefano di Sessanio? An Abruzzo village that is a true source of wonder and where there are so many things to admire and be conquered. Now, let's read about what Santo Stefano di Sessanio offers today. A destination that will make your experience a real journey through time. This is a great goal. I mean, he didn't decide, he just renovated. He didn't want to reshape in a modern place. No, keep it as it is because the the point of these places are simply that you can bring people who are experienced an holiday there back in time. And Italy has this power, has this potential nearly everywhere in the south of Italy, only where modernity destroyed totally the ancient, the old parts, the old traditions. And unfortunately, it happened in many places in the south of Italy, where people chasing modernity had completely abandoned and destroyed the value of this town. I'm even getting a bit kind of my feelings are touched because when I think, how is it possible that we destroy the gold? We had gold and we simply flushed this gold in the toilet. Now, in some places, it's getting very hard if you want to bring these beauties back. Anyway, to journey through time, to discover new tradition and a place full of history and charm, perfect for treating yourself to a few days of relaxation and quiet. For example, by deciding to walk along its stone streets, full of unique atmospheres and glimpses of timeless beauty, admiring the wonders of its perfectly preserved historic center. Exactly. Preserve. Preservation is the kick of Italy. I mean, if we don't preserve, and these Italian people should be educated from A to Z, because even elderly people now seems like they're treating things very, very bad. They are not, nobody taught them to appreciate what they have. This is the drama of Italy. Anyway, admiring the wonders of its perfectly preserved history center and entering with a leap into the medieval era from which the village itself comes. Among wild white limestone buildings, alleys, and absolutely unique decorations. Now, an Abruzzo village where you can take a trip into the past. Amazing. For example, starting from a symbol of the place, it's Porta Medicea, the entrance point to the village itself, or the Torre Medicea, which dates back to the 14th century and stands out at the top of the village, or admiring some of its most beautiful religious buildings, such as the main church of Santo Stefano di Sessanio, the Chiesa Madre di Santo Stefano Martire, which is also the building that gives its name to the village. And until you reach the magnificent Palazzo del Capitano, a building that was built by the Medici family as a noble residence. Now, because this place had been conquered by the Tuscan family, the Medici, back in the Middle Age, in the Renaissance, and so they let this town flourish and they start building beautiful buildings. So this Swedish man, very wise. I have to say, I can only say simply amazing. Now, this is another picture of Santo Stefano di Sessanio. Now, the beauties of the village. But not only that, moving just outside the town of Santo Stefano di Sessanio, it is possible to enjoy the unique beauty of the Rocca Calascio Castle, an authentic pearl of this Abruzzo village and one of the major attractions of all Abruzzo. Okay, oh, it's not finished yet. Anyway, a truly unique, beautiful, and visually striking village in Abruzzo, which is immersed in nature and which, once discovered, it is impossible to forget. A village that, thanks to the recovery project, amazing recovery project, in which it was the protagonist, it also a new and original model of tourist development. Exactly, in which its ancient homes have become welcoming accommodations for tourists and travelers. Now, this is very important, in which its ancient homes have become welcoming accommodations for tourists and travelers, and which you too can enjoy by organizing a trip to Abruzzo to discover Santo Stefano di Sessanio. So he didn't only invest, he made a project. Now, this project is extremely successful. So I believe he's making money. He created a business. So with a very high potential and with the right mind, with the right inspiration, it's possible easily to make money, for example, here in the south of Italy. It's only enough to see the potential of the land itself, but also you have to deal with the territory. And for example, as I said in my videos, in my video before, one of my videos before this, one of my latest, I've been talking, for example, how these regions that I between Molise and Abruzzo, because they've been partially connected to the south of Italy, as the Kingdom of Naples had been a bit, let me say, a bit above the other three regions, which are Marche, Umbria, and Tuscany, and partially Lazio, where things had been preserved at a very high standards. Now, everyone who has experienced holidays in in Marche, Umbria, and Tuscany, see the potential. I mean, Abruzzo and Molise, they're entering now in this, let me say, in this project, in this step where they understood properly the value of the territory. While, for example, in Apulia, Basilicata, Calabria, Campania, and Sicily, we're still far. There is someone trying, for example, to organize this type of activities also in this area, but because anyway, the territory hasn't been preserved as it should have. For example, Molise and Abruzzo preserved the territory better than Apulia, Basilicata, Campania, Calabria. In the name of the modernity, again, these regions of south of Italy kind of destroyed the roots, destroyed the heritage. They consider everything that was part of the memory as something bad, as something negative. Now, this is something that I find very, very hard as an Italian who relocated here and would like to see flourishing. I would like to see hundreds of projects like this. But for example, in Basilicata, Basilicata is in a bit behind Abruzzo and Molise. Let me say that at the top we have Tuscany. Then just behind we have Umbria Marche. Then we have Abruzzo Molise that now are following. Then I might see, for example, a bit of Basilicata and some parts of Campania now are trying. For example, Apulia, Calabria, and Sicily, they went too much, for example, for me, into the modernity. without preserving properly. Now maybe they're trying to go back, but it's going to be a very slow process. It won't be. Anyway, the only thing, for example, that I don't like about this village, I have to say, if there's one negative thing that I have to say about Santo Stefano di Sessanio, is the very high altitude. So I won't find easy, for example, to live in a mountain town all the year around. Now, a town that is at 1,250 meters or 4,000 feet above the sea level, it's a high altitude. So snow, you have to deal with a lot of snow in the winter. Okay, that attracts tourism as well during the winter because snow is another type of tourism, winter tourism. But I would find, for example, hard myself to live all the year around in a town like this. Even if I decide, for example, to start a project like this, I would rather go for a town that is not at a high altitude, but I would rather go for a lower altitude. Obviously, these mountains, it's much easier to find a mountain village totally abandoned more than a hill village. Okay, you understand? Because obviously, life in the mountains is much harder than the life in the hills or on the coast, on the sea. So, but the south of Italy has plenty of these type of places that has only to be discovered and to start a project. Someone wise, like this man, this Italian Swedish man, entrepreneur, had been very wise, and I can only clap my hands and for making such a successful project. Now, if you watch up to now, my friends, it takes 2 seconds. Put like and subscribe to find more contents, to see me talking about the south of Italy, about cheap properties, my considerations about the good and the bad of the south of Italy. So if you're interested in this type of contents, please take 2 seconds, put like and subscribe. So I'll see you to my next video, my friends, and I wish you a lovely day from Italy, a place to love. Bye.